Oh, I can't concern myself with that right now anyway. It's a busy day. I want to tell a little story. Parables. This is Wakia Thunder. Sometimes I just have thoughts come to me, visions, stories, and they make sense to me, and I'll just kind of like do this off the top of my head because I see things, and I'm just going to be chill today and tell stories. So there was this man, John Q. John Q is just like any other man. Woke up in the morning, went to work, all that type of thing. John Q was getting ready for bed. And John Q went to his bedroom and he took off his clothes, put on his pajamas, slipped into bed, and pulled the light cord so that the room was dark and he could go to sleep. John Q went to sleep, and that night a mist creeped in around the neighborhood. Nobody really noticed the mist. It just kind of creeped in, probably advection fog, ground fog, something like that. Anyway, John Q woke up the next morning to the sound of his alarm clock, which was set at 5 o'clock. His eyes blinked open and he hit the snooze button. And he got up, looked at the clock, said 5:30. He said to himself, I thought I set that for 5 o'clock. Oh well. I can't concern myself with it. He got up, went into the bathroom, brushed his teeth, did everything, took care of his needs, went to the kitchen where his little girl and wife were sitting waiting for him. Good morning, honey. What would you like for breakfast today? He looked at his wife and thought, man, I thought her hair was a little bit darker than that. I don't remember it being that dark. Oh well, I can't concern myself with it right now. Yeah, honey, I'll have some Cheerios. Could you get them for me? They're right behind you. Okay, I'll get them. He gets up, goes into the cupboard, opens the door, notices that the Cheerios are on the other side from where he thought they were, and he looked at it and just grabbed the Cheerios and went to the breakfast table and poured them in his. He's thinking, I thought those Cheerios were on the other corner of the cabinet. Oh well, I can't concern myself with it right now. After breakfast, John Q went out the front door and jumped in his car. But before he got into the car, he noticed on the right rear fender kind of a dent and a scratch. Kind of looked at it, shook his head, and go, I don't remember that being there before. I wonder how that oh well. I can't concern myself with it right now. He opened the door, got in the car, drove to work, pulled in the parking lot, got out, went in the door, and his boss was there to greet him. And said good morning to his boss, Joe, and noticed that his boss maybe lost a little weight. He goes, I thought Joe was heavier than that. Joe's looking, oh well, I can't concern myself with it right now. So he worked his day, finished his job for that day, went home, had dinner with his wife and daughter, watched a little TV, and headed off to the bedroom again for his night of sleep to get ready for the next day. And he set the alarm, 5 o'clock. John Q went to sleep. Next thing you know, John's feeling like somebody's tugging on him, and he opens his eyes and realizes that it's not 5 o'clock. It's got to be past 5 o'clock. It's too bright outside. And his daughter is like shaking his shoulder, and she's going, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy." And he looks up at his daughter, and he notices that she looks a little bit different, but maybe a little older. He can't concern himself with it. "What is it, honey? What is it? What do you want?" "Daddy, something's wrong with the refrigerator." "What do you mean, honey?" "And the lights too, Daddy. Something wrong with the lights. I think we don't have any electricity." And he goes, "Oh, well, that can't be." And she goes, "Well, I think it's there's something wrong in the neighborhood or something, because people are coming out of their houses and they're looking out of their doors, and it doesn't seem like anybody has any electricity, Daddy." John Q gets up, puts on his pants, his shirt, shoes, slips his hat on his head, walks out like, "I got to take care of business here and find out what's going on." And sure enough, when he gets to the kitchen, there is no electricity. There are no lights. And he opens up the refrigerator and looks and sees things are starting to thaw out in the freezer already. And he decides to call an electrician right away, or call the local news, or do something. He's got to find out if this is a situation that's just happening in his block, or so he goes in and he grabs his cell phone off the kitchen table, and immediately starts punching in, turning on a little, and nothing's happening. There's no light in the cell phone. What's going on here? What a time for this to go out. I wonder if it has anything to do with the electricity. Well, then he hears some sounds outside, like groups of people talking amongst themselves. And some are talking in an excited tone, almost like a panicky tone. John Q opens up the front door, and he's amazed because he sees groups of people all up and down the block, and he's thinking, well, just because the electricity went out, this doesn't mean. So he goes out to one of the groups of people. He says, "What's going on here? Why is everybody congregating? Why is everybody is your electricity out?" And they all look at John Q and they go, "Of course it's out. It's out all over the place. It happened 2 hours ago. Haven't you heard?" "No, I haven't heard. What's going on? I don't know." "Well, it's just we don't know what's going on. It's out all over. The electricity's out, our cell phones are out, our cable's out. The TV's off, everything. I haven't even really seen any planes flying overhead either. But there is some big smoke clouds off in the distance by the airport. Well, we better find out what's going on here. We better get concerned about this. We better get concerned about this. The story of John Q. Public. There is no concern because there's other things to do and life is normal. But when life isn't normal, and life is like not normal overnight, no concern before, but now concern. So, is that the mindset that people have? Is that the mindset that you have? Are you John Q. Public? Are you not going to concern yourself with little things that you might see, little changes that you might see? What is the parable of John Q. not concerning himself with the little things, the minor things? What's the meaning behind that? That's how it happens in this delusion within the illusion. The delusion within the illusion. Because we're living in an illusion, Maya, the Hindu call it, vibratory energy all around us. Perception is what we make of it through our thought processes. And where does that conception begin? How do we conceive? Well, we conceive through the programming of our minds since birth. The clear glass of water that has been filled full of mud and thoughts, muddy thoughts from our parents, society, schools. And that is our reality. That's John Q's reality. What's been programmed. What he believes based on that programming. How he views authority figures. Hasn't there always been authority figures in his life? Well, yes, there has. And hasn't there been an indoctrination from these authority figures? And hasn't he learned to just accept the status quo and not be too concerned? Not be too concerned. Matters will take care of themselves. They have it under control. We live in a society of everything being under control. Expectations being met. So why concern ourselves with anything other than that? Now, if you are John Q, I'm speaking to you, and I'm telling you, don't become complacent. Don't take that attitude, well, that doesn't concern me. Because the lights and the electricity will be out. And you will have not even thought about anything. And you know those little changes that John Q saw? But he didn't concern himself. That's just how change takes place when one government or belief system insidiously creeps in and changes things from behind the scenes. The American flag isn't the American flag anymore. Going to work and your boss isn't your boss and going to work anymore. Nothing is as it seems, because that mist that came in when John Q went to sleep that night, was a mist of contrived illusion, contrived hallucination. CH, contrived hallucinations, creeped in that night and just changed things ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. So you wouldn't even notice. You might take notice a little bit, the scratch on the fender of the car, the color of your daughter's hair. They came in and changed everything. The mist changed everything in an oh so subtle way. But you couldn't concern yourself with it. You had bigger fish to fry. You had your attention elsewhere. When the shelves become bare, you had your attention elsewhere and didn't notice. John Q. Public. Do you want to be John Q? Are you John Q? It's up to you.